welcome to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon podcast, brought to you from Malta. We are brought to you every week by our sponsors, precisionhydration.com.
Leaders in triathlete sweat testing and hydration with multi-strength electrolytes that match how you sweat.
You've nailed it. Listeners can get $9.99's worth of free product using the code Oxygen Addict. Can you tell we're trying to do this without a script? So that's Precision Hydration done. Who else are we sponsored by? Foodsell.co.uk.
The next generation of nutritional carriers for your bike.
This is great. We should do it without a script every week, shouldn't we? Right, the reason that we are making such a hash of our intro is that we're recording this. It's actually gone dark since we've recorded this. We're sitting at a picnic table in Malta still, wrapping up the end of our Super League special. We've got loads of super duper stuff to go through with you today. Hels, where should we start today's show?
I think we're going to rewind slightly for our post-race.
Yeah, so we're going to start today by a bit of chat from me and Helen telling you about our race in the age group Enduro Aquathlon at Super League Triathlon Malta this morning. Alright, so we're down here at transition race day morning. Hels, in my scientific opinion, people here are looking 187% more serious than I was expecting.
We should say age group race day morning, shouldn't we, first of all? So
I'm trying to pass it off like we're racing with the pros. There's Vincent Louis over there and Richard Murray's next to us. No, so we're in the age group race here. It's about 7:30. Sun's rising. Look over here, Hels. We've got beautiful sunrise over the city walls.
The birds are flying past, aren't they? And I'm not, to be honest, Rob, I'm not actually awake.
But we're going to get no sense out of Helen. There's about, I'd say, a couple of hundred people down here. Most people seem to be under 10% body fat, which is a surprise.
Yeah, they all do look very fit, and there are lots of people do have their country race kits on, don't we? So we have Bonomo from Italia, and then we've got, Malta and Singapore. Basically, we're
starting to reconsider.
Nah, it's just fun.
I'm looking around and I'm thinking, I shouldn't have had that massive pizza at 10 o'clock last night.
Well, no, we needed to be fueled, Rob.
Yeah, okay.
Because this morning I got up, my alarm went off at 6, and I had a banana, which I stole from breakfast yesterday, and and a coffee. So, I'm fueled. Am I ready to do this? We've got to go up that hill 5 times. I'm
going to ask you, Helen, are you ready?
I will be in 21 minutes' time.
So the pretty cool thing is we're actually in transition. We're racing on the same course as the pros are going to race on later on today. So we're actually right here. We're racked by, that's actually no names on the little racking tags yet, but they'll all have names on later on, won't they?
Yeah.
So we're right at the end. Poor Hels, she's realised she's racing without her glasses, so she can't actually see where she's going to be getting her shoes and stuff from. So we're right at the very end of the transition. So our shoes are going to get booted by 100 athletes coming through.
Yeah, they probably will do, but they just sort of say you can go wherever, so that's all good. And we are doing the Aquathlon Enduro, so that means that we have to do swim run twice, but that involves actually 5 times up that sodding hill. I didn't think of this. I thought once it's fine, but no, actually by number 2 I'm going to be going, oh man, what are we doing?
So it's a pretty cool setup. We'll explain this. Like transition, if you imagine an athletics track sized circle, like 400 metres round in a circle, transition's about 100 metres long, and then we jump straight out the end of transition into the boat harbour, swim across, along, back in again, so back in at the far end of transition, zoom through, probably fail to get our feet into our shoes because they'll be wet.
And we didn't bring
towels. That's what we didn't remember.
I know, I brought a towel.
Oh, I forgot my towel.
We don't have time for towels.
We were going to dry our feet.
I wasn't. I was hoping for some talcum powder, but maybe I'll go down and see if anyone has any. And then we shoot apparently out of transition.
Sorry to interrupt you. Look at this guy's tri-suit. There's a guy here who's got a tri-suit on that looks like it's out of Game of Thrones. It's literally got leather belts painted on it, like airbrushed on.
And his beard also looks like it's from Game of Thrones. That is oh my god, and there's like armour down his side.
It looks like armour, doesn't it? This is brilliant. This is really cool.
I think we need to find out if he speaks English. Let me just say.
Okay. We're doing an interview for a podcast. We've just seen your tri-suit, and you've got this kind of Game of Thrones thing going on. What's the deal here, man? What's your name?
Game of Thrones. Francois is the name.
It's Francois.
It's not really inspired by Game of Thrones. It's more by the history of Malta, by the Knights of Malta. So that's what it's all about, really. It's an homage to our ancestors.
It's very, very cool. Are you going to be gentle with us today and not run us over in the water?
I will try. I cannot promise, but I will do my best.
All right, man, thank you.
Cheers.
Best of luck.
You too, bye.
All right, so the history of Malta. There we go.
Who knew?
Who knew? Right, Hels, let's wrap this up. We need to go and do some strides like every other serious-looking athlete here. Come on, and some lunges.
Yeah, okay. Well, may the best person win.
May the best person not finish last. How about that?
Yeah.
We'll see you all after the race, everyone. Right, so post-race wrap-up.
Post-race, Rob. Well,
How are the legs feeling, Helen?
Legs feel all right, actually, now, to be honest. If we had done this interview at the finish line, I probably would have been gasping for breath, and I would have said, oh, everywhere hurts. But I've now had a shower, I've had breakfast, and they feel pretty good. But, oh my goodness, it was so much fun. That is how to wake up on a Sunday morning. You can hear now, I can put a sentence together. I couldn't do that before.
So, official warning, listeners, we've got Jolly Helen back. We've got Endorphin Helen is right here. I have to point out, just after the finish line, neither of us were looking too perky. That final uphill sprint to the top of what they're calling Malta Mountain pretty much did me in, and I did wonder whether I was going to be re-seeing last night's pizza at the finish line. I got some last 100-metre sprint with some guy, and I wasn't gonna fold, but oh my lord, I did think I was going to puke afterwards.
Yeah, the Malta Mountain, like I said before, if you go up it once, it's fine. If you go up it sort of, by number 3, 4, you're just thinking, oh, let's get to the end of this. But I think the weirdest feeling was actually trying to swim the second time. And your entry into the water, Rob, there's actually someone caught your entry. Just explain what you did, because it is the most spectacular entry ever. I mean, beats all the photos of the races in Hamburg that you see.
I went with the classic 8-year-old's knees bent bomb into the water. I know I can't dive from this height. It's all going to go wrong. The goggles are going to come off. I'm just going to tuck my knees up and bomb in. Crowd are quite impressed. The athlete underneath me, not quite so much.
You honestly do go and check out. It's up on the Twitter feed. It's up on Twitter already, yeah. And it's just rather special. I went for the dive approach.
Nobody got it on.
No, I've looked back through. They got my arm. Yeah, but it's not. There's no sort of Helen dive midair, and I probably wasn't midair, to be honest. I mean, it felt great. It probably didn't look great, but it was the actually having to swim that second time was really difficult, because you've just been running and you're running quite hard, and then suddenly you have to swim again. And even though it's only another 300 meters, my goodness, from that first buoy to the second buoy before you turn back in to the swim exit, that felt quite far, didn't it?
Yeah, honestly, trying to swim when your body is flushed with lactate at running at probably above 5k pace, I think I probably went too hard, and with the hill thrown in there as well, there's no respite on the downhill because you've got to leg it really fast. It's absolutely flooded with lactate. I can feel now my lats, which is a good sign because I was obviously swimming with decent form if my lats are sore, but my lats are more sore than my thighs are, which is I've never experienced post. I did get in the water and think, I'm already so out of breath. It's like I've already done a flat out 50-metre sprint and now I have to swim 300 metres.
Yeah, that was certainly the case. And I think the first lap as well, we started from a deep water start, so everyone was together. It was pretty manic, I think, at that very start. And you did get a few people sort of trying to bish and bash. And I thought that first swim would have been almost a little bit easier because you had other people like drafting around you. The second one, because the field was a lot more spread out by that point, you did think, oh, I'm on my own here. Yeah.
So let's talk through how the race played out then. So we all lined up, how it played out.
We were chilled out.
But we know there was a podcast smackdown going on. The listeners need to hear the results, don't they? So we swam to the first buoy, got several good kickings from. I was lined up right next to Will, the commentator. So Will gave me an Australian elbow on the way by, which was good. So that shook my morning up a little bit. We got to the first buoy. I looked up and I saw an oxygen addict tri-swim in front of me, and I thought, get in, there's Helen. So I'm on your feet, and I thought, this is great. Big pack of people. I'm just going to... And I was looking forward to tapping you on the shoulder as I get out the steps. And then some guy swam between us. It gave me the proper breaststroke legs to the mouth, and then rolled onto his back, and then swam backstroke between us. And then by the time I got around him, the pack splits, and that was it. I was like, oh no, there goes the first pack. So Helen's comfortably zooming along in the first pack, and I reckon you must have put 20 seconds into me over the second half of that 300.
Really? I mean, quite possibly, actually, because then, got out the water. By the way, there is another photo of you looking like Hulk coming out the water. I just have this double chin thing going on. You look like amazing. So we'll have to put both up there of the, getting out. Anyway, then transition, that was fine. Just put the trainers on. Neither of us bought talcum powder. So that was just, right, let's just stick the trainers on. Knowing that we were going to be...
Were you gone by the time I got to the shoes?
Yeah.
We were next to each other. So we were next to each other in transition. I think you were just leaving as I got to my shoes, and I couldn't even give you a shout.
Yeah, I think that's right. So my shoes were on. I was gone. I kind of left semi with my hat still on, knowing that, right, well, I'll pull that off once I'm running. So then goggles went down my top, and I carried my hat then on that run. And then you came past me. I mean, even before the hill, I was going pretty pedestrian-like on that first run, wasn't I?
You were going pretty good. I thought you were going pretty good. Everyone was running well, but obviously nobody knew how to pace it, so that was the thing. And I passed you on that first bit of the first hill. Then the next thing we know, we're back into the water. We're running in. I'd left my hat and goggles in transition as if it was a triathlon. So as we were running in, as we came through the S-bend, I thought, this is the point where all the pros put their hats and goggles on. I reached down for mine and thought, oh no, mine are back there. So, okay, no problem. Shoes off, got the hat, got the goggles, started to run. And it was only maybe 30 metres from where we were racked to the thing. Struggled to get my hat on, goggles in the mouth. Had my... Basically, hat just twanged off the top of my head as I was getting into the water. Just got the goggles on before bombing into the water. So I did the second swim with no hat, which we'll come to later.
So, I clearly approached this like a pro because I had noticed yesterday, clearly my favourite Norwegian triathlete. No. I had noticed that a lot of them have goggles and hats sort of shoved down, and I saw when they started to get their hat out, and I thought, right, okay, so I need to be conscious of that on the second lap. So I started putting my swimming cap back on, actually quite early, and I'm glad I did, because it's really hard to get it on the run. So by the time we were coming sort of back through transition, I had my cap on, and I had my goggles like above my eyes.
Yeah. Oh, like it. Okay. And so you almost caught me in transition, didn't you? You said I didn't see you, but you said you saw me.
So this is after the second swim. I didn't see you at all in that swim,
right.
But it was then when I came into transition the second time, so ready for the final 2.5K run, you were just leaving transition as I was putting my trainers on.
Right, so it's super close. You'd closed that gap right up. Yeah, okay, cool. I honestly felt like I was swimming with somebody else's arms on. I've never experienced anything like it. Couldn't have that nice relaxed swim that I usually have. It was just like, I know I'm going really slowly. I got swum over by what must have been like the lead 55 to 60 women's group. Pat came by me and swum over me it was terrifying.
The second swim was just quite quiet. So anyway, you then go off, and I'm thinking, right, well, I know I took the first run loop fairly steadily. There is, we had already said that you would go, it was 2 minutes, wasn't it? So I was thinking, oh, great. Okay, Helen, you're going to have to work here because Robbie is quite a lot faster on the run. And going up the hill the first time, you were sort of still... in the distance, and then it was when you were then coming down the start of the hill, and I was going up the hill, that's when I think you thought, oh God, Helen's actually right back in it.
Yeah, definitely. I turned around and I thought you had the eye of the tiger going on. So round the out and back, it's probably a 30, 40 metre stretch. There's probably only 80 metres between us at that point. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to get crushed. I don't believe it. I don't even get my 2-minute cushion. I'm going to get beaten hands down with no handicap.
And then going downhill, again, I had heard the commentators say yesterday about you've really got to sort of hammer the downhill, and I didn't on the first two, on that first run, I didn't. Whereas the second time I thought, right, this is where I can make up a little bit of ground or maybe overtake a few people in front of me. And so I did sort of hammer the downhill in my own Helen way.
So we ended up then, scores on the doors, we got to the finish. We don't have the official timing yet, but I started the watch after I crossed the line, and I'd maybe taken a handful of steps over the line before I started it. The watch showed 1 minute 46 as you crossed the line, so you were definitely within the 2 minutes. So the victory goes to you. Yeah. Coffees are on me for the rest of the trip.
Well, then they had a whole load of, well, honestly, first of all, I'm delighted to take the win there. I mean, that was a really close fought race with Rob, and, it really pushed me hard. But, yeah, absolutely chuffed to take that win.
Those photos, they look really good of you. They're the best photos I've ever seen. I think that, like, the proper professional photographers from the pro racer here shooting the age group race, which, almost never happens. And they look Instagram-like, don't they? It's cool.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
So they're going on your wall when you get home.
We'll stick a few up, maybe. But no, then what happened was they had all these glass bottles. Well, first of all, we got our recycled medal, didn't we? Yeah. And then they had loads of glass bottles sort of lined up. And then they were reading out the age group results. And your name got read out for third in the 45 to 49 category. Let's just, make this, let's everyone know this. And we were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Yay, Rob's got a prize. And then my name got read out as second in the 35 to 39 women's category. Yay. And we were like, oh, double whammy. And then it kind of went quiet for a little bit.
We think there was a stewards' inquiry. And then they asked everyone who'd had their names read out to all line up and get ready for you. You got your podium shot on the podium underneath the proper finish line. And mine was done first, wasn't it? So they read out my podium first. My name's nowhere to be seen anymore. So I think what's happened is I've officially been DQ'd for losing my hat. The thing where you put your hands between the hat and slide it onto your head, It just twanged like an elastic band off through the air. And I actually found it in the harbour afterwards, jumped in and got it because I promised it to a friend's mate's daughter afterwards. So I've got the Whitey, if you're listening, I've got the swim hat for Chloe. And then, drama of all dramas, it turns out they've taken one off my score and added it onto yours because Helen is announced as age group winner.
What the hell?
And she's so nice. She's going, no, you've got it wrong. Someone else should be the winner. I'm just like, get on the top step and get the photograph before they change their minds.
So I did. I had to stand on the top step and thinking, I'm not usually here. So yeah, it was all in all a successful Sunday morning, I think. And we made it back in time for breakfast. Nailed the buffet.
The best part of all is these kind of empty glass jug thing trophies that we got given. I've got a VIP band wrapped around them, and it turns out that you get to take your jug to the bar and fill it in the VIP area with the drink of your choice from the bar. Not ideal for me as a non-drinker, but Helen's is going to be sloshed by the time we get home tonight because she's got to drink mine as well. And in fact, I'm not giving that bottle, even if I'm DQ'd, I'm not giving my trophy back. I'm keeping it. Sorry, Super League.
All in all, though, oh my God, it was so much fun. It was a lot of fun, and it was. I think that some of the things that I took from it, like with a serious Helen thing here, was so much respect for the pros who have to go up that hill so many times. It is once is fine, but if you're already on the red line or kind of above the red line or whatever, and you're having to go up that is tough, and you can see why it's so exciting at the finish when they might be, head to head. And then the other thing is those transitions. We only had to deal with our shoes and our cap and goggles. And I mean, you messed it up. Straight away.
Totally. That transition becomes a win or lose event in racing that's this fast for sure. And also, we can't overestimate the effect of, every pro we spoke to yesterday said, oh my God, it is so hard to jump into the water and swim again when you're flushed with lactate. And it is like a different sport, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what I think is so exciting about it. Like, it brings another element to it. And then the other thing was, like, as we've said over the last couple of days, this venue is just something else. It's incredible. And I was swimming along and I breathed to the right. So all I could see was just these really historic buildings on my right-hand side and blue skies. And I'm just thinking, this is just amazing. And the temperature of the water as well, I think that made it a lot easier with that mass start, that actually it was quite a pleasant experience. I wasn't thinking, oh, I can't, are there going to be jellyfish in the bottom of this? It was just, it felt nice and comfortable.
So the water's kind of swimming pool temperature, and jumping in without a wetsuit, no drama whatsoever, just ready to go at 7:30 in the morning. So, I really think, Hells, that the sort of the Super League repeated fast short racing, it's so much more, it's reinvigorated me with, like, this used to be really fun. When I took this up and I was travelling in Australia and they had all these different formats every week, I've realised I've become a bit stale on triathlon, and this has made me go, this is awesome, I want to get back in shape so I don't get whipped by everybody.
And it was just so much fun. And I think as well, it was really relaxed. It was so relaxed. The briefing, it wasn't like it was the day before or 3 days before. It came in an email, and then they gave you a little chat just beforehand saying, no, don't worry, you don't have to swim in your race belts or swim with your number on. Don't worry about your numbers. It was really relaxed, and I think that made it really fun as well.
Yeah, really cool. Right, let's wrap it up. We need to go down and watch some of the pro racing, so we shall have some interviews for you shortly. Here we go, let's do it.
Looking forward to it. It should be good. It's now Sunday evening. It's just gone 6:10 in the evening in Malta, and once again the sun is setting behind us. It's kind of eerily quiet again now, Rob, isn't it? And I guess this is probably what it's like round here when it's not the height of summer and there isn't Super League Triathlon in town.
Yeah, the circus has left town and we've been standing here. I can't believe the day's gone by so quickly. I don't know about you, I'm cooked from the sun. It's been like 30 degrees here all day. The racing has been fast and furious. We've just honestly can't tell you how excited I am by how like amazingly fast and furious the racing was. So me and Hels are going to talk through the race for you, tell you how each one went, and then we've got loads of interviews from all the podiums and a few other people of interest as well, haven't we?
Oh yeah, we did, didn't we? We started off our day by finding our American friend Michael, who was the guy yesterday, you might have seen if you've seen any clips, who basically got in the water with his shoes on, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that will be the first interview that you hear. He obviously got then eliminated from yesterday, so didn't make it through to today's final, but we saw him just in and around the finish line area, and so we thought, let's grab a word with him. Yeah. So he was very interesting, so you'll hear from him. And then today's racing, well, I think after yesterday, the women's races yesterday weren't that exciting because you knew who was going to be winning.
It was like a semi-final, wasn't it? It was kind of like watching the semi-finals of the athletics at the World Championships or the Olympics, in that you kind of expected all the favourites to qualify, and they did. You didn't really know who else was going to get through on the five fastest losers, but we all kind of suspected they wouldn't have a big effect on the final result on race day, and that's kind of how it played out, wasn't it? However, race day itself was full of drama, full of smackdowns. The first interesting thing that happened was Cassandre Beaugrand, who already was in the series leader's pink jersey. She had a shocker, didn't she, at the start of the first race, and she was way off the pace. Way off the pace.
On the bike, you mean? Because it started off with a time trial, didn't it?
Yeah, so she was off the pace there. It translated into a pretty poor start in the enduro for her. She had to basically sat on Sophie Coldwell's wheel for the whole of the first bike leg, which Sophie actually seems pretty cool about, wasn't she? But Cassandre Beaugrand then somehow clawed her way back into the group, and all of a sudden, from us writing her off, it looked like she was just gonna do everybody. And all of a sudden, we hear over the speakers what happened.
Well, exactly what did happen. So it was, they just sort of say, something has happened. We cannot see Cassandre, we can't see her. What has happened? And then it emerged that she had a mechanical just going up the hill.
Yeah, complete failure with the front mech. It was completely ripped off the frame. It was all tangled in the spokes. I think by the time you guys hear this, you'll have seen the photos we put on Twitter, which I kind of sneakily managed to get the phone up against a bike when she wasn't looking and get a picture of it. So she was out of the running. Katie Zaferes, pretty much at that point, it was a domination, wasn't it? She just laid it down, and she took the win. We had Rachel Klamer took the second place, and Yuko Takahashi came through for third. She was super strong on the bike on the time trial, wasn't she, early on as well?
She was the fastest of the bike, so she started that enduro first off, and it's really cool. So they had to do this time trial on the bike, and they were all set off at 10-second intervals.
Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously that then counted towards where and how they would start the enduro, and we were sat right at the swim start, weren't we? And it was so exciting. So they had a starter sort of there counting them down, and they obviously knew exactly what number they could then sort of start and dive in. So it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, it's great for the guys and girls who are weak swimmers, because they can build up a lead on the bike and essentially get a head start in the swim. And they'd built a kind of like ramp for them to dive off, so the guys took us down, and we were sitting maybe 1 metre away from the ramp as they were jumping past. It was just amazing to watch so close up. I could have done with the tips on the diving for our race this morning. I could have done a bit of that technique myself, I think, but yeah, there was a masterclass in diving went on, wasn't there?
There were no bombing.
No bombing happened in there. I was talking to, as you do, I was talking to Vincent after the race, and mentioned to him he might like to learn my bombing technique.
Yeah. What, did he give you a funny look?
Yes, he didn't look that impressed with that. No, not at all.
So there we go. So Katie Zaferes then, world champion this year. She obviously came into this as Super League defending champion and rounded it off again by taking that crown. So she's had a phenomenal season, and I think it bodes really well for her going into 2020, the Olympic year.
Yeah, definitely. She looks super confident, and also in Super League terms, she's now got 2 pink jerseys, 2 sets of 20 grand in the bank. There's 100 grand extra sitting there to win the series, so it's looking really good for her as well in terms of the series, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say it's just been on the women's front, it's been really, really exciting, and I think what could make it even more exciting is, fingers crossed, some more women enter the races next year, because it's such an incredible format, and you sort of think, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Any female pros who are listening to this who haven't been down to Super League yet and tried it out, get down there. You'll get taken care of so well, and it'll make the racing even more fast and furious and intense. And I think it's such a fun way to go out there and get some really, really hard racing done.
And not a bad way to earn a bit of money as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, men's race.
Yeah, the men's race. Oh my goodness, this was full of drama, because this time on the time trial, there was chaos.
Yeah, so the men's time trial was meant to be 3.5 laps on the bike, finishing at the top of the hill, and all of a sudden there was chaos going on, and whoever's job it was to move the barrier out of the way to let the first guy through hadn't done it. So Gustaf Iden was the first one through, wasn't it? And he's like, I was sure I'd done 3.5, but I couldn't get through, so okay. So he carried on, the next 3 carried on. They moved it in time for Vincent and Kristian Blummenfelt to come through, but then they got told that they'd done the wrong number of laps, and they were like, no, we've definitely done the right number, but they went back out anyway to be sure. Anyway, it all got tidied away in the end, didn't it, with everybody ending up doing an extra lap. Same thing again, we had the time trial start on the swim, and there wasn't much by way of
difference in there, was there? It was almost like bish bosh bash, one after the other getting in there. There really weren't that many breaks.
Seconds.
And Marten talks about that, Marten Van Riel, in his post-race interview, about like the impact that it had. But that was almost even more exciting to watch, wasn't it? Because it was so quick, them all diving in, and you're thinking, how do they not land on top of each other? But as you said, they kind of do at the same time.
Yeah, so we'll hear later on from Hayden Wild. Hayden, as you'll know if you've listened to the other shows, he got pretty badly smashed up in a bike crash a couple of days ago. He's got stitches in his face. He got dived on by somebody during the dive start and roughed up pretty good, he said, and ended up getting spat out the back of the pack. So he was like, I was just trying to protect my stitches and not not get my head kicked in, basically. So it wasn't the best start for him, but he's a real competitor, fierce competitor from like a long distance adventure racing and Xterra, so he's tough as nails, and he battled his way back in. We then had, the surprise for me was Vincent went to the front, gave it the full gas, strung everybody out. He saw that Kristian Blummenfelt was a bit back. Kristian Blummenfelt wasn't having any of it. He battled his way up, and the two guys just, like, I'm not going to say they hate each other, but in terms of competition, they wanted to beat each other so badly. They were just giving it full gas up every hill, and you could see everyone else going, just back it off, boys.
And the other thing is, because they had both won their semi-finals yesterday, they both had the short shoot, so they were neck and neck. And then actually it wasn't really going to make that much difference unless one had sort of gone and the other one hadn't quite managed to follow or something, but that didn't happen. They did both take that short shoot, which then bridged the gap to third and fourth, and just shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to shoulder until that final hill. And again, in Kristian's post-race interview, you'll hear his side of that, and you'll hear Vincent's as well.
Yeah, so amazing racing for those two guys. Literally every corner they went into, neither of them wanted to give an inch. There were elbows out, they were pushing each other's shoulders. It was a really proper tough competition, and it made for fantastically exciting racing. And again, the more pros that come and do this style of racing, the more exciting it's going to get.
Yeah, definitely. It just is something completely different, and it's really, really cool to watch. You're kind of engaged, and because the settings are quite compact, as a fan you can see so much of the action.
Yeah, the bike course, the run course are in like a triangle, so you could just literally walk across from the three sides of the triangle and watch them 3 times on each lap, and see down over the swim here in Malta as well, because it's on a hill. So fantastic for spectators, brilliant weekend away for any fans of triathlon. And the real noticeable thing that's blown our minds is, obviously not just from our point of view with our press passes, but the access that the fans have got to all of the big superstars. You'd never get this at ITU level, you'd never get it at the Olympics, you wouldn't get within 100 metres of them. And here they're sitting and leaning over barriers and having selfies with people. It's just fantastic racing, but also really relaxed atmosphere with the fans as well.
So do we need to hear then from some of these athletes that we've just been talking about?
Let's do that. We're going to play out all our interviews here back to back. We'll introduce everybody along the way, and then you'll hear from us again at the end after all our interviews are done.
So first, second, third and fourth in the men's race. First, second, third, and Sophie Coldwell.
Yep.
In the female race, I think.
I've just realised we haven't actually given the overall result from the men's race.
It.
Yeah, so Vincent took it in a brutal uphill sprint finish from Kristian Blummenfelt. There wasn't much between him even at the finish. And Hayden Wild took the sprint finish from
Marten Van Riel.
From Marten Van Riel for fourth. So great racing from them. Let's hear from all the interviews now.
So before we bring you a whole load of interviews from the finals on Sunday afternoon, we've come up a little bit earlier, and it's the fun run that's just happening, and Rob spotted someone with pink glitter all over his body, and it turns out that it's actually Michael Arishita, the trainer guy. Now, so you might have seen this on social media. So Michael, just explain, why am I describing you as the trainer guy?
Well, yesterday was the prelim for the Super League event, and in the Super League races, if you ever fall 90 seconds back, or in a lot of races, if you're the last person in each discipline, you're eliminated. So I finished my first run, and then as I was running through transition, about to stop at my bike to take my shoes off, I looked up and I saw the clock was at about 1:24, so I knew if I stopped to take my shoes off, I'd be eliminated. But I thought maybe if I just kept running straight through, I would make it past the elimination mat and make it into the swim. And I didn't quite think about how difficult it was to swim with shoes on, but it was just trying to survive and live a little bit longer. And I did that, and I dove in and took about 10 kicks, and my feet filled with water and started sinking. And I was already probably at 190, 200 beats per minute after running as hard as I could, chasing the group down. And then it was pretty tough, and then so I stopped and actually took my shoes off and tucked them into my mid-swim, treading water, and then put my shoes into my suit to think maybe that would be easier. And I think it was easier, but not by much. So I would certainly encourage anyone the next time they're at a swim session to put their trainers on and try to swim just 100 with your shoes full of water, trying to kick, and see how useless it is, and you'll know my pain. So I knew I'd be eliminated after the swim, but figured made it through one more event, and got some good coverage. Super League liked it, and that's what Super League racing is about, is just innovative, creative, tactical racing, and you got to think on your feet and never really know what to expect. So we saw in Jersey many athletes running without shoes on to avoid getting eliminated after the swim discipline to make it into the run. And then I guess this time in Malta, I was the first person to swim with the run shoes on, which I think is a good bit harder, but hopefully we'll see some other athletes attempt it in the future and realize my pain. So.
And how did you end up getting into Super League then?
I raced in the Super League Ottawa event in Canada. It was a qualifier race, so it was open to any pros, and top 3 qualified for the Super League series, the championship series, with all of the previous year racers and all the other wildcard athletes. So with Super League, they take the top 10 from the previous season, and then there's 3 qualifier races, and top 3 from each get a golden ticket. So then that's 19, and then they add about 11 or so wildcard athletes that are just successful athletes. They're world-class guys who may not have done Super League in the past, but they're top-level athletes. Kristian Blummenfelt was one of the, quote, wild cards, but you saw he won the grand final. He's one of the best guys in the world, and so I think the golden ticket people tend to be the underdogs. So it was a good experience and excited for next year. So I think with 10 more months until the next Super League, I think I should be able to learn from this season, get a lot better, work on my weaknesses, and hopefully have a better showing, and hopefully not ever be in the scenario again where I have to swim with my shoes on, because that was one of the toughest parts of my triathlon career right there.
And you said to us just before we were going to hit record that actually you were about to quit triathlon before you qualified.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say quit is kind of almost make it like a voluntary thing, like I can't take this anymore, but it was almost it was hard to justify. I mean, I was like $1,500 in credit card debt. I really didn't have any great results, and it was just kind of having an honest assessment with myself of, do I have what it takes to make it in the sport? Are my goals out of reach? I was sort of out of the mix for the Tokyo Olympics, which that's kind of everyone's motivator, is the Olympic Games. So with that kind of being out of it, I was playing with the idea of just transitioning for 2020, kind of transitioning into the next phase of life. But with the Super League golden ticket, it was the best race I had. I had the fastest runs there. I swam well, which is typically my weakness. And then I got into this year's Super League and figured I'd see how this year goes. And then they extended the Super League season until 2020 to help with all the Olympic qualifying athletes to focus on the Olympics without Super League getting in the way. So there'll be 5 Super League races next year, and it's the same series, so I'll be in for all of those. So it was really the kind of a life-changing opportunity, and then coming here and racing with all the best guys in the world. Really, I know it was a rough showing, and may have been basically my best, but just best not enough. But I'm excited for next year. I really believe I can be in the mix with some of the guys next year, and last year I was far worse than I am this year and was struggling at way lower level races. So I think if you look at improvement in the past 12 months and rate of trajectory, the slope of the graph, if you will, I like to believe that next year will be a big year for me, and hopefully people see it coming. But if not, I'll be there next year, and hopefully people asking, where did this guy come from? So that's my motivator, and that's my goal. So.
And Michael, how difficult is it for, someone maybe kind of not quite there on the National Federation program? How difficult is it, and how therefore important is it to have something like this?
It's huge. I had a lot of other friends who were we go back and forth with in races who they were asking me, what are you going to do this fall? And they were all going to Asia to do some Continental Cups, and I really didn't want to do that. I couldn't really financially justify it, and it was really I have no idea what I'm going to do this fall. I hope Super League, but if not, I don't really know. So the Super League opportunity has been career changing, to say the least, and then to come here and race against these guys to kind of see what level of intensity and skills are required to make it in the sport was just so invaluable. You really can't put any kind of it's essential, I'd say. So yeah, it's definitely been an incredible experience.
And does that mean now that, next year, will you be able to train full time, or do you work as well?
Yeah, I've pretty much been coaching triathletes for the past 6 years, kind of since I was a sophomore in uni, and started trying to help the freshmen. We didn't have a coach. I went to Texas A&M. We had a club triathlon program is how I got into the sport. So I kind of started figuring pieces out here and there. I studied pre-med and physiology, so I started learning kind of the human body and physiology from kind of a more medical background, and then putting the pieces together, getting more experience, reading books, all that kind of stuff. So I've kind of since then kind of grown and tried to learn, be the best that I can be. I just came from Kona actually last week, so I went from Jersey to Kona and back here to help support one of my best friends and one of my athletes that I've coached forever who qualified for Kona. So I was out there supporting him and back over here. So that's actually where most of my kind of finances come from, and then essentially I call it funding the dream. So it's doing that to fuel and fund triathlon essentially. So yeah, minimize expenses. I don't necessarily have a home. I kind of bounce off between friends' houses and couches and back home with my parents here and there, and then just at training camps. So minimizing expenses and trying to
live the dream.
Yeah, make it work. So I'd say I think I live the richest life. I mean, I look around me right now. I know you can't see what I'm looking at, but it's beautiful, and I've been to some incredible places despite living out of a suitcase. So it's I think I'll look back and have nothing but positive experiences from this whole triathlon endeavor. And it's the way you look at it, because I know people who just complain about not having money. Can't make it in the sport. There needs to be more funding. There needs to be more money and all this stuff. And my response is always, if there was more money in the sport, if there was more funding, then more people would do it. And if more people did it, it'd be even more competitive, and you'd probably have even less success. So the harder it is, really just separates everyone. So everyone in the sport is in it because they love it. They're in it just for something a little bit more intangible than making money. So it's about really chasing a dream and doing whatever it takes to get there.
Such wise words. My final question, well, it might not be, depending on what you say.
I got nothing else to do, so.
No. I want to know, why the heck are you covered in pink glitter and with a bit of pink on your face?
Oh, I don't entirely know. I showed up just wearing regular clothes, and then I was here to do the Nike Fun Run, and then everyone was wearing pink, and it's for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so pink. And I didn't really come prepared, nor did I bring anything pink, so I kind of thought quickly on my feet, went over to the tent, and then just poured glitter on, and it seemed to be a hit, seemed to work out well. So I was able to share some of my glitter with some of the kids and other people who didn't have glitter by just pinching and sprinkling like a little pixie. So it was a good time.
Michael, thank you so much. Rob, I don't know if you've got any other questions. No, we're good. Michael, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cassandre, not the race that you wanted.
No, it was not how I wanted to finish my season, but c'est la vie in French, that life.
What happened?
I broken my derailleur, so I can't do anything with that.
You got a holiday now, to something to look forward to, a bit of an off season?
Yeah, I stayed 1 day more in Malta, and after I come home, and I will take just 2 weeks of season, of holidays.
Thank you so much. I'm going to let you go.
Thank you.
Right, we've got Sophie Coldwell here. Sophie, congratulations. That looked like a really, really tough race there. You pretty much dragged Cassandre Beaugrand around the entire bike leg. Did she do a turn on the front at all?
No, she didn't, but I was fine with that. Like, at least if you're not on your front, like, no one's going to come down in front of you. So, yeah, it was fine, but yeah, I went very hard and suffered from there on in. So it was really hard. Yeah.
We've just watched you limp over here, and it's hard to describe the nature of the hill on this course, trying to run flat out up it, isn't it?
Yeah, I felt like I was literally just running on the spot. Like, you're trying so hard and you're putting a lot of effort in for not a lot of return. So, yeah, I was glad to finish, and yeah, glad that's the end of the season.
What does the rest of the year hold for you now then? Are you going to have a bit of a rest and recovery?
Yeah, a couple of weeks of not doing a lot really, and then chill out, moving house, and then a bit of cross country and back into training.
Only you can think a bit of cross country as the off season. That's hilarious.
I know, but I get to this point where I'm like itching to race, so I need to find something to fill the winter with. So cross country fills that gap. So it's good training as well. So yeah.
All right, listen, we'll leave you here so you can think about how you're going to get back down this hill and into transition. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yuko Takahashi, congratulations! What a great day today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
You said to me yesterday that you were looking forward to that bike time trial.
Yeah, I like hearing calls like this. So yeah, I did really good time trial. So yeah.
And you knew that you had that in you, didn't you? You were
not
confident
really,
yesterday.
But yeah. I didn't expect that, but yeah, I just did my best and that came out good. Yeah.
And what was it like having had that bike time trial? How did that affect the race, do you think?
It was really hard, but yeah, I did my best and I was leading into the enduro, so I just stay calm and what I need to do, focus on what I need to do, and just trying to follow Katie, Rachel, and yeah.
And you did it. And did you expect to be on the podium today?
No, for sure not. But yeah, a little bit sorry for Cassandra, but yeah, it sometimes happens. So yeah.
And what does it mean for you to be on the podium?
A really good step. I have one more race this year, but yeah, it's really happy to be here, and this is really good step for 2020.
And of course, obviously, it's going to be for you a home Olympics.
Yeah.
You must be super excited. Have you qualified yet?
Not yet, but yeah, I think you're really excited to have such a big event in my home country. So I'm really looking forward to it.
And have you spoken to some of the British athletes who maybe were involved at London 2012 and what they made of having a home Olympics?
No, not really.
The atmosphere is insane.
Oh, yeah, insane. Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
And it was really hot today, but what do you think it's going to be like next summer in Japan?
I think, really hot, more humid, I think, than here. And we had a test event this August, so it was really hot and humid, but we did some heat protocol, so I think, I was preparing for that. So hopefully next year also I could do well.
Great, well congratulations today, fantastic end to the season for you, apart from your one more race, and then really good luck for qualifying and then racing at Tokyo.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I got Rachel Klamer here. Rachel, congratulations on second. Did the race play out the way you thought it would today?
No, definitely not. I woke up this morning and I was like, wow, I'm feeling definitely worse than I woke up when in Jersey. My legs were just sore, like my quads, and I noticed yesterday already during the race, my legs were not feeling the way they felt in Jersey. I know I haven't trained the way I wanted to train for this race, so I'm actually really surprised that I even managed to hang on today. I managed to stick to that second place.
You did really well. You looked great on the run, but were your quads really feeling it today after the smashing that they took yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. On the last run, I looked back and I was like, I think I can afford to walk a little bit because I could barely get up that hill. I think it was more walking than running. I'm pretty sure my pain face was on.
So were you secretly glad then when Katie took the short shoot?
Of course I knew she was going to take, and I kind of got closer again, but then I knew, I was like, no, I'm not gonna get it. I tried, but at the end I was like, no, there is no ways my legs can still get back on it. So yeah.
Right, well listen, congratulations on a great performance and have a wonderful off season.
Thank you very much. Will do. Thanks.
Katie Zaferes, congratulations on the win. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, you can't end the season better than that, and to start my off season, I'm very excited. I did what I wanted to do, which was just finish the race, giving everything I had, and being proud of how I raced, and just not give up, even though it is harder the further the season gets. But no, it's such a tough field, and you see different people, especially on this course. Rachel, you could tell yesterday was going to be super strong, but Yuko did awesome. I was really happy that I picked third for the TT, and then she was ahead of me, so that chasing her was really good incentive, and I think that's a lot of the reason that I was able to have a good TT was because she was setting that tone and being really hard to catch, which obviously I didn't. I lost 2 seconds, but that was good enough for me.
Yeah, she was super strong on the bike, wasn't she? Did you like that format where then, obviously with the rolling start for the swim, it was about 2 meters high, the dive you all had to do? We were all looking in the crowd and going, I'm glad we don't have to jump off that.
Oh, I love those types of things. I mean, some of the times where I feel the most powerful in races is when you dive in off of blocks like that, or the second dive into the swim. Like, I usually like it because I get a lot of momentum and power from that, and I think other people struggle with it, and I see it more as a strength.
So are you looking forward to the rest of the Super League season kicking off after the Olympics next year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this type of racing is just it's really tough, it's really exciting, and it really makes you focus on all those small aspects to make you a stronger triathlete and be better. So like even after winning this race, like there's certainly things during the race where I messed up or didn't figure out, and want to do better for next year.
And it'll probably add to your Olympics experience as well, right?
Oh, for sure. Like these races are great for everything, but the more you need to, like, for here transitions, and every single time Rachel would crush me on the transition from the bike to the run, and I know this winter I'm really going to have to focus on that type of thing, and also gearing like into the corners. I mean, how many times have we done this little circuit now, and I don't think I figured it out yet. So yeah, like this race, it just makes you really try and be better in every way, because you can't really afford to lose time anywhere.
All right, well, we'll let you get away. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Sponsors. Right, a big shout out to our 2 show sponsors today. First up, foodsell.co.uk. Foodsell make the best aerodynamic top tube nutritional carrier to fit food and gels and all kinds of stuff onto the top tube of your bike while you're riding. So you can use it to fit 4 of those big fat gels in. You can get 2 massive chunks of flapjack or shots of food or whatever it is you like to eat. You can get the stuff into and out of the food cell. Dead easy. Sliding mechanism on the top you can open with one finger. Get the food out. Put the wrapper back in. Slide it shut with one hand. It's super, super easy to get things into and out of, which is really important if you're going to be using it to carry food on long distance racing. You can also use it to carry your spares kit in. So I can get 2 tubes, 2 CO2s, a little multi-tool, and an inflator in there. It fits beautifully, and it isn't hanging out there in the wind behind my saddle like it used to be. So for all you aero weenies out there like me who want to keep your spares kit out of the wind, it works fantastically well for that. The price has been reduced by £5 down to $39.99. You can get yourself one over at foodsell.co.uk. Second sponsor is Precision Hydration. Now then, if you are needing, out here in Malta, I'll tell you what, it's been absolutely roasting today. That's probably not going to be a big challenge for you in the British wintertime. So if you need to take care of your hydration and your electrolytes when you're training indoors in the heat, on the treadmill, in the gym bikes and the spin bikes, on the turbo, Precision Hydration have got you completely covered. They make their electrolyte salts in different strengths to match how you sweat. So that means if you're a standard sweater and you need 1,000 milligrams of sodium per drink, you can mix one of those up. If you're like me and you're a crazy heavy sweater, you can mix yourself up a batch of 1,500 milligrams, and it means that you don't progressively lose more and more and more sodium over the course of a week's indoor training. In my opinion, it has massively helped control the amount of those night cramps I would get in my calves. It stops my feet cramping when I swim, but also it just helps maintain that electrolyte balance in general. So you can take an online sweat test at their website. That'll give you a lead as to whether you are particularly heavy or a particularly salty sweater. Either of those are bad news for your race and training performance. And if you are, you can even have an in-person sweat test done as well. But for now, just order yourself some Precision Hydration. And if you've not tried it before, you can get £9.99 worth of free product using the code OxygenAddict over at precisionhydration.com. And you know what? Just one more request from us. If you guys could go online and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would be awesome. 5-star reviews help the show really rank well in the iTunes search engine. It's the reason that Super League Triathlon found out about us, because they went into iTunes and looked up triathlon podcasts, and there we were, ranked number 1 in the world, which, believe it or not, is pretty mind-blowing. So they invited us along. It's meant we've got to interview all these big stars, and all of those stars have agreed, well, lots and lots of them have agreed after meeting us at Super League Triathlon, that they'll come on the show and do proper long-form interviews. So we've got loads of big-name interviews coming up for you in the future. So thank you very much to everybody who's left us a 5-star review on iTunes. You guys are the reason that we've managed to come out here and that we're going to manage to get all these big names on in the future. And anyone else who can leave us 5-star reviews, it'd be really much appreciated. Thank you so much. Tyler Mislawchuk, how you doing, buddy? Hard day at the office out there today, huh?
Yeah, a bit of a tough one, and a bit of a miscalculation on course, because as you could tell that 3 or 4 of us were forced to ride 4.5 laps versus 3.5, so I mean, it adds up. You had to ride an extra 2 minutes full gas, and I was pretty tired entering that first triathlon, and actually came around the second one and kind of went better in the second one. But yeah, top 10, but disappointing day. I wanted to be up there with the boys mixing it up. So
what happened with the confusion then?
Oh, we just came out to finish, and the barriers were closed, so we couldn't enter the finish line. So we just kept riding. We kind of looked at each other and we're like, well, we better keep riding hard, because assuming everyone else is going to have to do it. And yeah, everyone else rode 3.5 while we rode 4.5.
Tough day, huh? So what's next for you now?
A little bit of R&R, maybe a beer tonight, a burger, and yeah, we'll take a bit of a break and get ready for next year. I've got my eyes on a big race next summer in Japan, so we'll see how that goes, eh?
Yeah, well, you've had some good opportunity to race your big competition here over this weekend at Super League, haven't you? Has it given you some extra confidence and a real close-up view of the guys you're going to be racing in a different format?
Yeah, I mean, this racing is a great opportunity to race the best guys in the world, and everyone comes into these races with a different mindset. Some are, we're having fun. Some are to prove themselves, and some people are, at the end of a long season like myself. So just trying to get the most out of myself, and knowing that I may not be at the best physical conditioning at this point, so I don't take it too hard when I'm not up there with the guys. Obviously, you'd like to be mixing it up, but not every weekend you can be up there. So I'll be up there when it matters, I think.
Come Tokyo next year, I think we'll be seeing a different story, hey?
Yeah, that's the plan. Hey, hot conditions is right up my alley.
Awesome. Thanks very much for your time.
Cheers. Thanks, man.
Gustaf Iden, congratulations on your race today, man. How did that work out for you?
I actually said before the start that I think in the shape I'm in now, a 5th is a realistic position, and everything worse and better is like an offset of the 5th place I set myself into, and I finished 5th, so I think it's a good day, yeah.
So a bit of confusion on the bike leg there. Did you feel like it held you back? What happened? You came up the hill and the barriers were closed and you went, okay, I'm riding another lap then?
Yeah, I was 99% certain I did 3.5 laps. But the barricade was still blocking the roads, and I pointed my way in, like indicating I was finished. But then the commentator said, "Haha, he has been counting wrong." But I was like really certain I did the right thing. But in the end, I just did another hard lap and finished the thing. And yeah, the only difference was I did a full lap more, but I didn't think that made a huge difference in the end.
Bit of extra training for you, hey?
Yeah. So I think my coach is happy now. Get some training in.
Fantastic. So what have you got planned for the rest of the year then? Is it off-season for you now?
No, I didn't really have an off-season this year. I think off-season is not mainly mental, but pretty mental. So I'm extremely motivated to work until Olympics. So I don't feel like I need an off-season this year. So I had a pretty big off-season last year with a lot of sickness and a lot of rest. So this year I don't feel like I need one, and I rather have a bigger off-season after the Olympics next year.
Now, getting the chance to race over the different format in Super League, obviously you get to race guys like Vincent Louis up close. What do you think his weaknesses are going forwards for you to exploit at the Olympics?
It's hard to say, but I'm not sure how he deals with. I don't know. I don't think he has a huge weakness, but I think maybe I could play on my strength more. And my strength is maybe a reasonably high pace over a long period. So not super high pace, but a pretty high effort over a long period of time. So if I try to make the Olympic Games a high steady state effort, maybe that plays into my advantage, but it's hard to say like almost a year in advance. Yeah.
So you and Kristian together are a formidable pairing on the same team at the Olympics, eh?
And don't forget Kasper, he is also a magnificent team player. Yeah.
So, well, listen, thank you very much for your time, man, and we can't wait to see you race in Tokyo as well next year.
Thank you.
Martin, no one wants to finish in fourth, but that was you today. But my God, you gave it everything out there.
Yeah, I think indeed I gave it everything, so I can't be too disappointed. But of course, yeah, it always gives you the mixed feelings to finish just off the podium.
What about that bike time trial to start things off? And you said yesterday, that is your strength. How did you find that? How did that impact on things?
In the end, I think it didn't impact things much because it was so close. So it was almost like a swim start without the fighting because everybody had like a couple of seconds. I'm like that's probably the thing I'm most disappointed by is my time trial effort today. I think maybe I went a little bit too careful in the corners. I've had some crashes this season, so I'm still kind of searching for confidence, and this is a good course to learn how to corner again. So I'm still quite happy with the end.
What happened out there? There was a lot of confusion between the number of laps, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think the first group they did 4.5 laps instead of 3.5 laps on the bike TT. Because the entrance of the finish line was still blocked. I think someone must have made a human mistake, and I think there was quite some confusion. So in the end, it was not too bad to be in the second heat, even though I had less rest.
And what next for you after finishing fourth here? We said yesterday you've had an amazing season. A bit of downtime?
I'm actually doing 2 more races now.
Go on, what's next?
So I'm traveling tomorrow actually to China for the World Military Games. I'm in Belgium. We have an awesome program, and I'm supported by Belgian Defense. They are my employer, and it's once every 4 years. It's like sort of a mini Olympics for military people. I hope to do well there. I'm gonna see some of the Frenchies of today back there. Luckily not Vincent, but it's Pierre, Aurélien Raphael is there, Dorian Connings. And then actually in 2 weeks later I'm doing a 70.3.
Is that going to be your first 70.3?
Yeah, that's my first one. I saw the Norwegians do the race in Nice, and I fell in love with the distance, and I thought I can be in the mix as well, so I'm going to try to get a ticket there. That's the first goal, of course. And
so is that going to be, which one are you going to do? Bahrain again? Or is it
no, it's Xiamen, a Chinese one. It's now in exactly 3 weeks, 10th of November. I chose that one because I am quite tired, so I don't want to make the season too much longer because, of course, we need some downtime, and then the most important build-up to the Olympics.
Great. I'm going to leave it there because I think we're going to be attacked by fruit flies.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Martin, I have one other question.
Okay.
You know when you're diving in?
Yeah,
and everyone's diving. I think most age groupers would be a little bit afraid of where to dive. Do you just not even think about it and just go? Or do you actually have to go, right, I need to go there because he's about to jump on top of me?
Honestly, I don't really watch where I dive. It's just more of a point in an arrow and try to not hit anyone and hopefully not get hit from behind. But of course, it's always going to be close because if you're in even a group on the running and you're like 1 second apart in the swim, that's like basically you're on the shoulder of the other guy. So it is kind of a dangerous thing, but I think we all know what we're doing. So usually I've never had anything happen with collapses. So
good to know. And I guess sometimes it works, and sometimes you get someone semi-landing on top.
Yeah, of course, it happens that there is a little fights, but it's part of the game, of course.
Good luck in China.
Thank you very much.
Right, we're here with Hayden Wild, the Maltese Falcon. Mate, what an amazing performance, what an incredible comeback after crashing just the day before. How was the race for you?
Yeah, it was for me. I had to have a really good warm up. The body was definitely feeling it today, just with the crash of the impact. But I was just mentally trying to block that out, and had a really good time trial. Unfortunately, we did an extra lap or something. To be honest, I didn't even know we did an extra lap. I was just really focused and just trying to follow Vincent and trying to get as much time on him. Jumping into the water in second, for me, I was really happy. I was only a second behind, so it was really great, and still had some energy in the tank. When I saw the boys come to transition, the finish line, I kind of slowed up a bit because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I just let Kristian go by and just kept my 10 metres behind him and then went through. at the end, so I had some energy at the end. So I know I could have probably maybe been about 5 seconds faster, but it wouldn't have really made a difference. And then, jumped into the water and just got absolutely pummeled. There's nothing I could do about that. I was more kind of a bit scared about it, to be honest, because I didn't want to get beaten up in the face because that could have been race over for me. So I just had to play it safe and just be cautious of what I was doing. Unfortunately, that made me come out of the last out of the water. Had a bit of work to do, but it was real easy to get back on. The legs felt good after the time trial. Got into the second round behind Vincent. I just worked as hard as I could in the water and got onto that little pack that was chasing him. So I didn't really lose too much time, which I was really happy about. And did a bit of a fumble coming into the run transition, and that cost me 4 or 5 seconds and potentially a better spot on the podium. But those boys had the short shit and they were on fire. But really happy to get third place.
I've just overheard you say you're thinking about maybe the transition and having a crack at 70.3 New Zealand later on in the year. Are you excited about stepping up to longer distance stuff?
Yeah, well, I've actually come from a long distance background. I've done, I used to be an event racer in Xterra, so I used to race between 6 to 24 hours anyway. So I've actually done a reverse transition to everyone else. So I'm used to the distance. It's been a few years since I've gone that long. I've never done a 70.3 before, so for me, I won't be going out breaking records or trying to have a real quick time. For me, it's just, pretty much a training race, and if I can qualify for World Champs and do it with bare minimal effort, I'd be absolutely stoked with that. So, but at the end of the day, it's how I feel when I get back to New Zealand. You don't want to burn yourself out pre-Olympic tour, so we'll see what happens. But I'd love to qualify it super early and then have a later kind of recovery before heading into the 2020 season.
All right, man, well, listen, thank you so much. We're super impressed with how hard you've raced. You guys have made it so exciting this weekend, and I can't wait to see you all go at it next season too.
Yeah, thank you so much. Cheers for coming.
Nice.
You want it?
Do I want it?
Yeah,
thanks.
Get it.
So I'm standing with Kristian and his second place male Championship Series round winner. Says second place there. Are you happy with second place?
It's a good performance. Like, it's really hard to beat Vance over such a short format. He has been like the man to beat for the last year and a half over the Super League. So I'm pleased to be close and being able to give him a real fight. Like, we were running there really shoulder to shoulder with a few hundred meters left. And I was also having the image from last year when he ran with Skuman, and it was like exactly the same happened. Like, he was just flying through the last 200 meters, and I had no gears left. I just didn't have the speed.
Because he entered the final corner just ahead of you, didn't he?
I don't think that mattered too much, actually.
Okay.
I tried to pass him a few times, like up the hill here. So I kind of answered each time, but that was...
That last kick, he had it.
I know that he has the last kick, so I really tried to give my best to break him before that, but I wasn't able to.
Can you just explain what the heck happened during that time trial with the laps? Because you and Vincent both ended up in here.
Yeah, I knew that we had 3.5 laps, and I just came in here, and then suddenly everyone tells, like, no, it's 1 lap more. I felt like an idiot, counting wrong, didn't pay attention at the briefing, and Vincent followed after me, and suddenly I lost 20 seconds there to the other guys because I had to go out again, and I suddenly were with Hayden Wild. But then it showed at the end. It showed that the front guys were counting wrong, or the organizer didn't open up the gaps, so they were kind of forced to go for another extra lap. So but I think in the end they were able to take the timings like 100 meters before the finish line. So even though we did an extra lap, the timing were basically right.
Did it annoy you doing an extra lap? Like, did you feel kind of frustrated?
Like, when you're doing the extra lap, you just feel stupid because you think you have done the mistake. So that was more kind of, okay, saving whatever I have. But then it was more relief when I realized that I didn't do any mistakes, and they were actually able to. I think it didn't really matter in the end because they took the timings from like 100 meters down.
You don't know the word give up, do you? That's the thing that we love.
Yeah, I think I did a mistake there on the swim. I shouldn't have been in Hayden's feet. I shouldn't have tried to force myself into second place, diving into the water and giving whatever I had to stay in Vansa's feet. Because no, I didn't really push too hard. I was just staying in the feet to Hayden and Van Riel. But also I gave Vincent like an 8-second gap. And I think if I wanted to beat Vincent, I should have been with him out of the water and then really dragged it along on the bike to make that sprint to not just a 1600 meter sprint, but to actually a 4K bike and 1600 sprint all out, because then I think I could have a chance.
Third time lucky next year, as in twice he's beaten people up that final hill. Third time lucky, I'm telling you.
Yeah, sure. I think I need a gap before the hill, because you didn't need like 5 seconds before the hill, but I will give him my best next year.
So, for you then, next year, the back end is going to be a bit mental, isn't it? Olympics, will you do Super League again next year?
Yeah,
and then 70.3 World Champ, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the plan. So I'm now going to Bahrain in December just to qualify. It's not going to be a super fast race like last year. It's just going to be to get my spot for the World Championship and enjoy a few days there after the race.
And do you think after Tokyo, would you quite like to go longer?
We will see. Like Gustaf is already qualified for Kona next year because he won in Nice, and all he needs to do is to finish an Ironman. And I think Klamer is after the Olympics. And if I do that with him and win it, and he just do it as a training ride, then we can both be qualified for the Olympics. And in Rio it was like 7 weeks and 2 days between, but now it's like 3 months, so it's even easier to go back to back. So you never know.
So you might be in Kona next year.
Maybe it's on the mind. If it goes well in Tokyo, I think it could be a cool thing to go straight over, just to kind of show the middle finger to the long distance guys.
Do you think did you see it this year though? And Ali Brownlee, struggled. He didn't struggle. He did brilliantly on obviously the swim and then the bike, and then he faded on the run.
Yeah, but that wasn't really a big surprise. Like you could see in this, he can't really pace himself. Like I think he was running out there without even a watch, and he went out in a 3-minute flat pace for the first 3K, and then he blew up. But that's actually just really, really bad pacing. And it's surprising that a guy with his experience is doing mistakes like that. So I think, as we have proven both in Nice and in Bahrain earlier, that we really can deal with the long distance with minimum weeks of training. So if we have 3 months, I think we can do a lot.
We will. We can't wait to watch.
Yeah, let's see.
Right, so I'm here with Vincent Louis. What an amazing performance, man. You guys absolutely smashed each other to pieces out there. Was it fun racing?
Yeah, that's really good fun. I know you don't have really a pressure. You're not racing for your country. You're not racing for a world title or Olympic medal. You're just racing for fun and for yourself. So you're more inclined to take risks. Like, I went off the front since the start. I just tried to push the pace, trying to attack on the back. Like, I just had fun, and I don't know, it's just like every time you're racing, you just want to keep the thing going, and that's really nice. Racing Super League is really nice for that.
It seemed like the look in your eyes and the look in Kristian Blummenfelt's eyes, you two guys were both the two guys really going super hard, and everyone else was like, just ease off for a minute, you two. You were just really killing each other. Were you aware of Kristian when you were out on the bike course?
Yeah. With Kristian, it's a long story. We're almost the same age. We had a lot of tough battle, a lot of sprint finishes on races. And I remember in 2017 in Rotterdam, I won the grand final, and he was second. And I got these pictures in my head when I was on the last lap of the run with him. And I think he got exactly the same because he was really hungry at the finish line. So yeah, that's good. He's a tough guy. He trains a lot. He trains really hard, and it's always a pleasure to race this guy. But yeah, I play with my strength. He played with my weaknesses. Like on the bike, he can be stronger than me. So I just made him believe that he can catch me, and I was all out. But I was just like not waiting for him, but managing my pace for the run. And then yes, when we took the short shoot, I saw Hayden was a bit far off, so I just had to follow him and trying to go all out with 200 meters to go. That's what I did. That was as I planned it. And even if you planned it before, it's still really hard to do.
Yeah. And it seems like you guys bring out the best in each other. You both love racing, and you could see in your eyes as you were coming up the hill together side by side, neither of you wanted to give the inside line going around the corner. It was a really epic battle to watch. How's this going to play out at the Olympics?
Yeah, that's true. We had some helmet hit at each other, some elbow even on the run, you just want to keep the best the best corner possible, and you just don't want the other guy to take it. And it's just a matter of kind of a poker face sometimes, trying to impress the other, trying to go a bit of a bluff. And we do it pretty well, I think, both of us. But I mean, I knew I was the strongest for a sprint finish, even more uphill sprint finish, and I just waited for that. He tried to drop me, and I just sat on the front, and I just showed him that I was still here and I would be the strongest, whatever.
Right, so you retain the pink jersey going forward. You won today overall. Are you looking forward to the rest of the Super League races that are going to happen next year after the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I already told the Super League team that I will race all the Super Leagues. I really get a lot of fun racing these races, and it's a bit of extra money for sure. That's an extra motivation, and you know, when you're 30 years old, you need this extra money to manage your post career. And I'm just looking forward to racing this Super League. But yeah, as you said, first there is the Olympic, and that's the biggest goal of my life. I mean, now I've been world champion, 3-time world champion by team relay, European champion. I won, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 Super League weekend, and I'm still leading the Super League. So the only thing that matters for me now is the Olympic medal. That's the only thing I miss, and I'll do my best to get it.
Well, the thing that excites us watching is there's a bunch of you guys who are really going to make the racing incredibly exciting to watch. It's not going to be a boring procession. You guys are going to smash each other, so we can't wait to watch it. Thanks so much for your time, and I really appreciate it. All right, so that was Vincent Louis. That's the end of our interviews for this Super League series. We've had a fantastic time out here in Malta. There's a bunch of Maltese guys walking by carrying the podium past us on top of their heads as we talk, which is pretty cool. Looks like it's well and truly get packed up, and that's a good note for us to end it on, isn't it really, Helen?
I think it is, though. I did just want to mention this thing, Rob, which is on the table in front of us. Yeah.
So, tell me, well, everybody knows who your favourite Norwegian racer is by this point. So
yeah, but he's now your favourite Norwegian.
Yes. Yeah. He's my joint favourite Norwegian. I love Gustaf Iden as well. Both absolutely awesome guys. Right, so I turn around and Helen is standing there having just interviewed Kristian Blummenfelt, and I'm thinking that's really sweet of him. He's let Helen hold his trophy, and Helen's got a big smile on her face, and I said, what's going on? And she said,
well, he's actually given me his trophy. So I said, what, nice trophy. He said, do you want it? I was like, no, it's fine. He said, no, you can have it, honestly.
Because that happens every day, doesn't it? That Kristian Blummenfelt gives you his second place trophy from Super League. So it's signed.
Well, so then I said to him, Kristian, I don't suppose you'd sign it, would you? Because actually, it would be quite cool if I could do something with it and hopefully raise a bit of money for the cancer charity that I work for. So I work for an amazing charity which supports young people to try to build up their fitness and strength if they've been affected by cancer. So I'm thinking we will come back to you on this one with exactly what we're going to do with this. But oh my God, what the heck?
Somehow we're going to raise some money for Helen's charity. One of you is going to end up having this trophy, I think. Somehow we'll work out a way to do it. But what a brilliant end to a fantastic weekend, eh?
Absolutely. So I am Helen Murray.
I'm Coach Rob Wilby.
And you've been listening to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon podcast on tour in Malta.
Thank you very much to our sponsors, Precision Hydration, foodcell.co.uk, and also a big shout out to Super League Triathlon and to Visit Malta and all the people who've made our trip possible. We really, really appreciate it.
Bye.
See ya.